So how's life though? Yeah.
Saturday was tough. Saturday was the actual funeral.
Yeah.
Joe and Bill showed up though, as
Oh,
far
cool.
as like, yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was cool to see them. A lot of people showed up, and I broke my fear of talking at funerals,
Oh
and I
God.
figured this is the funeral that I have to. Like,
You
there's no
have.
question. Like, I bet
Yeah.
with Mike and I might have. I can't remember if I talked at Mike's or not. I might have. I don't remember, but yeah, I had to get up, and I brought Sarah and Brand with me. I think they already planned on possibly going up, so I don't want to take all the credit for them, but I wanted to bring them up just so they could be in the presence of talking, and then they ended up going up on their own after too, so that was good.
That was nice.
They all got to say their piece, and then um, like old childhood friends of Rachel's came, like kid, people I haven't seen since we were all kids,
Yeah.
and they just had the good stories and stuff. Yeah,
That's
it was tough, but it was beautiful.
yeah,
So,
of course. Dude, that's nuts. I mean, how's
mm,
everyone doing now? Is everyone like settling and
it's still day to day when it comes to certain things. Because I mean, the challenge of taking on the
yeah.
responsibility of a nonverbal autistic child and his older brother, like, Danny's doing a great job, but obviously it's coming with its, difficulties. Dustin is someone that wakes up at like 1 in the morning and doesn't want to go back to bed. You know what I'm saying? And like, what do you do to,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So we're talking, I don't know, we're trying to figure stuff out and how we can. Brandon's been a big help. Brandon goes and picks the kids up every morning and takes them to
Yeah.
school for Danny. And
Oh my gosh, dude.
yeah,
That's incredible. Brandon's so awesome. I freaking love that. Oh,
yeah, he's awesome.
love
So
him.
yeah, we're just doing our best to assist him and then while simultaneously trying to like lick our own wounds, you know what I'm saying? So kind of
Yeah.
is what it is. I just need to get out of this funk and I am slowly kind of getting out of it because like I don't know about you, but I do know about you, and I know you are very similar. Like these types of things don't hit me direct. It's an indirect explosion. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like
100%.
I'm seemingly normal, seemingly fine, but like I'm immobile. Like I can't do anything besides exist. You know what I'm saying? I can go to
Yeah.
work, I can, but then I just exist. Like I just melt into my couch when I get home.
Yeah.
Don't even like won't even shower sometimes because like I don't know. It's like I can't bring myself to it. I did shower today though. I was like I need
Nice.
to.
Well, I mean, it's
I mean, work makes it easy to have to shower because my job's
right.
disgusting. But like,
Right.
I mean, like on the weekends especially, like it's really like really hard to motivate and
Yeah. No,
but
it's like, it's like year one. It's like Steven in first gear all times. Like, it's
yeah.
like you can't shift out of it. And it's just like it's like you're driving, you're being pushed in neutral just from the, momentum of life. And it's like not
hmm
much you can do. And you want to shift gears, but you just can't make yourself do it yet. It's
It's
just
tough. The metaphor I used at the funeral, and it just like came to me in the moment, but the metaphor I used at the funeral was like I've buried a lot of people, like two of my closest friends and like all of my grandparents. And it was always like ending a chapter, it was like ending a chapter of my life, but like losing a sibling is like what it feels like if someone went back and ripped out pages of every chapter of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like they took away
yeah.
chapters, and they took away pieces of every chapter. Like,
Yeah.
she is someone who knows me in her own version of me since I was one or two. You know what I'm saying? Like she knows everything about me and that person is gone. So
Yeah. And I mean, I know you can't help but feel like chapters that would have been created
and
have
the few like yeah, like
got
that
yeah.
character is gone. That book, like the character has been.
I know.
And
It's
it's yeah, it's definitely going to be like it's just like any tragic death like this. Like you you deal with the initial pain, the initial shock, and then the shock waves over time. That's just, but it's a lifelong thing you have to deal with. It's just going to be a consistent forever. Like every Pokemon Go event that I do with Tina and Brandon from here on out is going to be like, I wish Rachel was here, and every milestone with our children, and it's just tough. And then, like I said, then it's the reflection. Like it's like looking at Oliver and just like knowing his whole life is just completely different now. Like, and he doesn't deserve that. He's only 10 years old. He doesn't deserve this Batman origin story. You
Oh
know
my
what I'm
gosh,
saying?
yeah.
Like he hasn't like that. Yeah. But anyways, I feel like I'm doing pretty good other than that. I wasn't able to like we can talk about this in the episode too, and you can put this at any point in the episode if you want
Yeah.
to. I'm not afraid to share anything.
Okay.
But I wasn't able to like actually physically work on like the comic, but I was because I knew the position I was in and I knew like who I was, so I actually ordered a small sketch pad,
Okay.
pencils and stuff, so I could sketch my thumbnails. So I've already started on doing thumbnails because I knew I was going to be so I
Yeah.
could just sense it in me. I knew I was not going to be productive just by the way I felt. So I
Yeah.
wanted to be
I,
I wanted to be able to sit on the couch and just
I know. It's funny, like like as your friend and someone who loves you, I'm torn between like knowing you wanted distraction and also just wanting you to be like just fucking it, none of this matters. You know what I mean? Like I don't
but
wanna
it does matter to me, and like I do have such ambitions this
I
year.
know.
I
No,
do have the full ambitions of
I
getting both
know.
Deathless, and now with the text I've been receiving tonight, it seems like we basically have a lucrative setup with this other project. So I want to be able, and I even told Tina tonight, I'm like I need to be able to start like just moving again because like we have so much potential in front of us now, and it's
Yeah.
right now this is the whole thing where work and get it done because this is like this could really every part of this can literally like we're gonna finish an entire series to the point where we can publish a graphic novel of
Yeah.
our whole story
Well,
if we
I have them. I have to show you. Oh
I'm
my
so excited.
dude, it's so freaking cool. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. It was just, but
But
yeah.
I want to get because I do want to get both done and I know it feels like I've already been thrown and set back so much. But now that we have going on what we have going on and that you're off, maybe when I'm working on this other project on top of Deathless, I can send them. We can go back to like you coloring a little. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
can we can diversify the projects again to where I can do both and just get it
Yeah.
done. You know?
That would
So
be awesome, dude,
yeah,
for sure. So I'm trying to think of like, all right, how are we gonna? All right, we'll just get started and we'll do it. We got. Oh, by the way, did you watch the Fantastic Four trailer?
yes, I did.
Okay, we
Two,
can
we
we'll talk
we can
about.
talk about that because I have theories of what's going to happen.
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about that. All right. Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
Every week, my friend Steve Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles that life throws our way in order to make comic books in the world. We've been trying to make comic books together for, I don't know, a billion years, 20 something years now, and we failed for most of them. Recently, we started publishing our new series, supernatural superhero culty comedy comic called Deathless, and we are on issue 3, except for we finished issue 3, Steven. We're making our way to working on issue 4. Recently, if you're joining us for the first time, Stephen recently shared a tragic loss of a close family member and someone he loves, and we're obviously working through that. Stephen, so like, can you give us like a quick update on what you did with the comic? Because that's the most important part. I'm kidding. Like just so no, like what's going on, dude?
So yeah, the I'm sure like part of what I was sharing with him prior to even this moment might get shared later too. But just in summation, Saturday was like the official funeral and everything, and bunch of family, friends, and like people throughout the year showed up. It was live streamed over, I think over 1,000 people viewed the live stream too, which is pretty. Which is she
No.
like my sister was just beloved by anyone that knew her, like anyone that worked with her, anyone that knew her in any capacity. So she was most definitely honored. Albeit tragic, it was nice to see a lot. Like my uncle Chris flew down, so I got to see my uncle Chris. I haven't seen him in person for like it probably hasn't been that long, but it's probably been a year or two at least. So yeah, it was good. Got to see a lot of family and friends, but if it kind of felt like at least we can like kind of close it now, because like
Yeah.
it's kind of open, like we were all living in it and accepting it and stuff, but like until you have like that ceremony and like the gathering and the like acceptance of it. And my mom made like the most beautiful slideshow for it too. Like, and like I think she was trying to make individual people cry because it's like she like literally staged the slideshow so like the photos would correspond with an individual person, and like she
Oh,
would have like little notes in it as it was saying it. Like Rachel helped raise you, and it was like Brandon from when he was like
Oh,
2 to like, because I mean, my siblings and I are like, I'm
yeah.
10 years older than Brandon. Rachel's like was 8 years older than Brandon. So we did like raise him basically. But yeah, it was everything, it was as beautiful as it could be, and everyone just came through and assisted in the ways they could. Like Sarah's fiance Ashton, basically just like not a new, he's been him and Sarah have been dating for, or been together now for 3, their wedding is this month actually. His family's just so delightful. They're the ones that like contacted their church, so we did it at their church, and Betty Ashton's mom just was like, her and Tina completely like set up all the food, did all the staging and everything like that, set up all the tables, and it was just, I don't know, everyone just came through. Like Jill, Tina's mom, she was just a delight. Everyone was just, it was good. It was good to see people, and yeah, that's basically what happened Saturday. That was like the whole week was leading up to that day, and then
Yeah.
that day, of course, was heavy, but it was as beautiful as it could be for something like that. So,
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, those moments are some people need that closure of like the funeral moment, but I feel like we all know that there's not that closure. Like it's interesting because like that I wish that like we could be like, "Oh, that's the end of that, like chapter," and but it never feels like that. It always
no, yeah, especially with people that are so close to you. Like, there, it's probably not even a day. Like, not a day goes by that I don't think of Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh my God,
in
dude.
some regard,
It's like it's I mean very much like I mean our first book is showing the music as a time machine. That's
Mhm.
how it is for me with Mike. Like anytime I listen to certain songs, I'm just like, oh, there's Mike again. Like and just like I
And
can
that son of a bitch just had to quote every movie that was even half
every
decent. So
oh
anytime I
my
hear any
God.
quote, it's just Mike talking to me, you know?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I mean, but I mean, it's for better and worse. You get those moments where it's like well,
Hmm.
they're always with us in that way, and that's freaking wonderful. But it hurts and it weighs on us. But I'm glad everyone got that, and it's not like your mom is amazing. It's
Yeah.
so cute. It's so
I mean,
funny.
you can tell she spent time on that side. She even had me like clean up and like re-render some, like not re-render, but like fix some photos up that had like
Yeah,
scratch, like old photos, like
yeah.
scratches and stuff.
Oh, that's
Like
cool.
she really wanted it to be good. And like, my mom is still, of course, as a mother should be, is just completely grieving, but it's created things like we talk to each other, all the whole family has like, we talk to each other every morning now, and like there's just things that we should have been more consistent on that we let slip, that
Isn't
these
that?
types of things remind you that slipping is detrimental to your mental health. Like you
Oh,
need to,
absolutely, dude.
you
I
need to
yeah.
love the people that you love when you can.
Yeah, well said. Dude, for sure. I think yeah, we've definitely gone through that and with like Tommy and Mike and and every time it's
Mhm.
just like we need more time together. Like there's never enough time. It's just
I
true.
even said that to Joe and Bill. I was like, what's funny?
Get out
Last time I saw you guys
was
was
this.
Mike, and I said, we all said we need to start getting together. And
And
look,
no
here we
one
are. Here we are. It's been, and it's no one's fault individually. It's
no, of
just
course
what
not.
adulthood in America does to you, or adult probably anywhere, but especially in our situations where we're just in the busiest decade of any adult's life. The 30s, especially if you have children, is just a insanely busy decade of life. So that you will miss tremendously. Like I already see my
No,
kids growing up, and I'm like, ugh.
I know. It's
Casey's
so
not going to ask me to push her on her bed because she likes me when I push her down on her
yeah.
bed. She's a weirdo, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Atlas does it too.
tonight, in fact, she was, Daddy, pushing. I'm like, baby, I gotta do the podcast. And I walked out, and I was like, nope,
Push
she's
her.
not going to ask me to push her
Nope.
down.
You
Like,
gotta push her.
yep,
Always
I
push her.
went back. I literally was almost to the man cave, and I turned around, went
Push
all
that
the way
kid,
back,
stupid.
and she wasn't even on her bed. So I set her on her bed and then pushed her into it. Cause like, yeah, man, like
You have
I'm
to.
not gonna push her down on her bed forever. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the only perspective to have. It's like you
Mhm.
have to, I kind of think of it like if I'm lucky enough to get a deathbed, I'd like to imagine that these are the moments that I'm, thinking back on.
Mm,
You
mm,
live your life in accordance with to that, and just think like how many memories do I want to reflect on, and do those
mhm.
things and be silly,
Absolutely.
just do all this stuff. It's crazy though. I
Yeah.
mean there's never going to be enough time with anyone. You know, like it's
Yep.
always going to feel like a loss. That's what it.
Unless they have a hyperbolic time chamber, and then we can actually like spend years in there
Oh,
when there's only days passing in here. But I guess you still age in there, so you would just be sacrificing time with other people.
people.
We'd just be in
Yeah,
the same chair we are or the same seat.
nothing we
So
can do, Steven. Um, but otherwise, so it's good that you got some closure with that. So like, did you? I know this. Like, for those of you out there who are watching for the first time, I know it sounds insensitive for me to be like, so anyway, did you work in the comic book? But that's what we do here, and we talked about it beforehand. So I do know
yes,
that
this
you
was
are.
just the segue in between. But yes, I didn't directly like my iPad was not busted out this week, but I had done it with a few pages on issue.
Failure, Steven. I'm just kidding.
You lose your sister and you failed. This is like the worst. Like you're like fatality, like flawless victory and failure. No, but I there was a few pages in issue 3
Yeah.
where I had moments of like slowdowns where I grabbed a sketch pad and like roughed on a piece of paper and then took a picture of the thumbnail rough and then expanded it and then created a page.
Yeah.
So I was like, listen, I know you're looking over at the iPad and you just don't physically have the mental capacity to flip that open and truly start on a page. So I ordered like a small like 7 by or like a 5 by 7 sketch pad and like new pencils and I was thumbnailing, so I'm like progressing on the thumbnails, and I might just try to progress and do all the thumbnails and actually be smart, unlike me, who just kind of draws a page and then sees what he can do. Like
Yeah.
I like literally don't, I don't know. I'm such a scatterbrain when I any it works for me, but I literally just draw the pages as again. There's no planning ahead of time. Like I'm like inspiration. Read what Anthony wrote. Okay, and then I just go for that page, and I'm with no, and that the only time that really bites me is when there's like, and I've learned to do this now in scenes. I need to see where you're gonna need people positioned eventually,
Yeah.
because like
Sometimes.
sometimes where they need to be in the room doesn't matter on page 1 and 2, but then page 4 comes along and it's like now he's getting up and doing this. It's like, oh crap, I already have him over here. So what am I gonna do? I got to adapt. So now, yeah, so I have learned to read ahead a little bit now, but I think I might thumbnail the whole thing. It all depends on. I kind of my whole mantra and philosophy when it comes to drawing comics, and you guys probably shouldn't listen to this, but is to just whatever your with art, whatever your heart's feeling that day, just go for it. Like there are some days where like I'm really in the mood to create and rough and do that, but not have the patience to sit there and do fine lines. So I'll rough, which is rewarding because if you can get ahead on your roughs, then you can reward yourself with the fine line days where you just want to lay back, watch something, and then you have your stuff there. You just got to do the tedious process of making it look good, you know? So that's what
Uh,
I do.
that reminds me, we do have a couple. We have like two questions, and that kind of
Ooh,
that leads into one of them. So I think
okay.
that's a good segue for this question. Like, if you want to be
So
like,
all songs are sad now. We're in a sad boy era. But there's still people out there, incessant people asking questions, even. No, I'm just kidding. Because it's questions from the colony with Steven and his best friend Anthony. It's gonna be righteous.
okay. So every once in a while, people ask us questions. We've been making comic books for a while. We've been best friends for a long time, and people
Mm-hmm.
want to know things. And sometimes we have answers. I tend to. I like questions about like the craft and such. I like
Mm-hmm.
questions about like creating, like writing and drawing and like what our process is. I also like questions about like monsters and that sort of stuff. This week we have questions that seem pretty sincere about the creative processes. So Daly, our good friend Daly asks, so
Mm-hmm.
can you talk about
Daly's the
feeling?
sweetest.
Yeah, definitely. She said, can you talk about feeling stuck? Are you starting a new project? Ideas are very there, but the energy to produce flees. And we also have a sub question. I think it works with this from our friend Fowler. He says it might be related to Daly's question, but do you ever want to create, but after you've finished working for the day and everyone's in bed and now it's time for you to create, but you can't bring yourself to open that word processor and get the writing done? So like I think those questions kind of go hand in hand. Like so because that's kind of what you were just talking about. Like you don't have the energy to do that full thing, right? So like what do you do when you is that what you do? You just take
So
every step forward?
similar to me, you're kind of on the same page as me, as where like you draw, you write, you play music, you sing, we paint, we kind of just, we're
Yeah.
jacks of all trades, kind of masters of some, um but so what I do is like my process personally, like I was just kind of expressing just beforehand, since my art process is either structuring the page as a whole, roughing it out. So, and like when I rough, I do rough pretty not detailed, but pretty detailed, because like you're always going to tell yourself, oh, I'll just put the detail in. And then you're going to get to it and you're going to be like, I should have really fleshed out this hand a little bit more before
Right.
I like just started to do fine. Cause now I got to like kind of go back and rough. So since I have to do like conception, roughing, then fine lines, and then eventually shading with color and things like that. Since I have so many different variations in what I have to accomplish for the book to get done, um, I just try to lean into, like, for example, on a day where I'm tired and stuff, conception might be tough, but if I've already kind of laid some conception down, I can definitely start scratching and squiggling to kind of fill out and create the page, or even maybe like research like some inspiration like in what I'm like thinking, or just sit there and ponder and like kind of like I still don't believe that there's some people that can't see that, like, the people that are
I
trying to
know.
say, I don't, I think there's a misconception happening. I think people are thinking that we physically actually see an object before our eyes, but it's just, I can visualize it. I can see it in
Yeah.
my head, but anyways, I'll just sit there and just like kind of daydream about the page. Like, so maybe
Yeah.
if you're coming from a writing standpoint, just daydream. Imagine like you're just daydreaming about your project. Like, what's happening in that world, even if it's not even stuff that's probably going to stay, in your established writing, especially if it's fiction or something. Like, just imagine like characters interacting in your world and just kind of daydream. Like, I don't know, like I always, when I lay down for bed at night, I just daydream. Like, I just try to like live in a fantasy world for a little bit, and then I fall asleep. But so that's what I can recommend, is just basically whatever doesn't, like, if your brain's on point and you
Mhm.
you feel creative juices flowing, then do the things. It's like you have to do the things that you need that juice for, but
Yeah.
then make sure that even on the days where you want to progress but you don't feel as creative, start doing the boring stuff. Then do the stuff that's just gonna like structure it out, like do a, like figure
I
out like your bones.
Yeah. I think it's important to remember to do what you can where you are with what you have in any part of the
In
process.
any capacity, whenever you have free time to do it and you
That's
are willing to sacrifice that free time for that project, do whatever you can in that moment, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I think like we go back to the metaphor of like the stairs a lot in this show, because I think it's important for like creators to remember, because we're often just like, ugh, I'm never gonna get to the top of the stairs. I hate myself. How am I gonna get to the top of the stairs? This cursor's been blinking at me, but it's like, well, what you have to do is take any step forward,
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the energy to get to step two, but you might have the energy to take one step forward, which might look like an outline. It might look like fleshing out a character. It might look like just drawing, like doodling the title and making a concept of a cover. It might look like anything, but I think
Draw your character's nipple, even if the nipple's not going to show, even if it's, just do
show
it.
that nipple.
Show
It's
that nipple. But like, for
even.
example, like the story I shared in regards to this week,
Mm,
I looked Anthony in the windows of his soul, and I said that I'm going
I
to
know.
get a page done this week. And that was me trying to psych myself up and do it. And then,
Yeah.
the heaviness of the week just got the best of me. But even as it was getting me, like, I had the foresight to be like, listen, I need to get something done. And it's going to make me feel better, even though I'm telling myself it's not going to make me feel better. It is going to make me feel better. So like I said, I ordered the sketch pad and the pencils, and it's, not conventionally what I do, but it's letting me dip my toes and starting to feel the characters. And that's exactly what happened. Was it's like I'm reading the first page of the script, and I didn't want to pull out my iPad, but now I'm seeing like Jeff and like
Yeah.
how energetic this page is going to be, and like
Uh-huh.
what can I do, and just try to because nothing was coming out that I want the way I wanted it. But that's fine, because I'm getting rid of the garbage that I'm not going to use
Yes.
anyway. Like I'm redrawing the big panel in my head over and over again, and then on the paper, and like it's letting me explore the options to make this page work, and that is still a step, right? That
Absolutely.
is better than not doing anything and just saying, oh, I had a sad week and I just didn't even
Yes.
try. I feel like I'm already putting myself and immersing myself into issue 4, because that's basically what it feels like. I'm sure it feels like that for you.
Oh yeah.
Like when we start a new issue of Deathless, it's like my reality in the Deathless world becomes that issue. So I have to like become in that, be part of that issue basically, and like really feel the energy and the emotions of that issue. So
Yeah. And I think what's really important and really difficult to do is to recognize when you're going to have actual working time, like physical, like I know if I can focus, I have the time to do this,
mhm.
versus free time throughout life to like piece together things in your head. You know, like what you're saying. Sometimes if you're doing dishes, that takes zero thought for me. You know,
Mhm.
like I like when I'm doing dishes, what I'm really doing is I'm thinking about like silly stories or like jokes and like nonsense and like I have thoughts, like things are just filtering through my brain. I don't at any point go, "Ooh, dishes suck." That's not a thing I care to focus on. Like I just do the thing with my body and think about stories that I want to tell and how I can, build these worlds that I'm trying to build. And so I think that that's important, but I also think that we kind of overlook the importance of like ingesting and like digesting things that are going to motivate us. You know,
Mhm.
like if you if you're not feeling like very motivated, watch things that you love that make you remember why you love telling stories. You know,
Mhm.
like it's okay to just enjoy a movie. That's something, it's we forget that like sometimes you just sit down and listen to songs because music is beautiful and amazing. We forget that as creators that like not everything has to be to create content. Not everything has to be for, to build this thing, but everything does help us build our toolbox, of
Mhm.
creative possibilities and potentialities. Like everything we see, we ingest and we digest and it becomes a part of who we are and what we create. And sometimes that helps us to get motivated when we otherwise would feel like we had no gas in the tank. It
Mhm.
fuels us art fuels us in the same way that our art will fuel other people, hopefully, one
Mhm.
day. So I'd say, watch some things that you love, watch, watch and listen to things
Read comic books or
that you love.
books that you love, and
And it's, even if you're like, oh, I can't find anything I love, you have loved things. Go reread a book. When's the last time you reread something that you really loved or rewatched a movie that you really loved? Don't, no, I'm not, and like, I did get it. Everyone rewatches like The Office and New Girl and Bob's Burgers. I get it. I also do that. But I'm talking about like the things that made you want to write, not just the things that you like fall into for comfort, you
you know what
know?
movie I randomly thought about that I want to rewatch that I haven't thought about in years, but we've been watching Boston Legal because
Oh,
Tina and I watched The Office and we fell in love with James Spader because James Spader is hilarious in the last 2 seasons of The Office. But then he's awesome. Like we rewatched Age of Ultron with Cambria, and I'm like, and I was like, oh man, James Spader is really cool, man. Like I feel like Ultron was a little underrated because like I think he did a really good job as Ultron. And um then we watched Blacklist, which Blacklist was super strong the first like 4 or 5 seasons and then tapered off. But James Spader was pretty much consistently gold all the way through. So we're like, oh, he was in a lawyer show in the early 2000s. Now, albeit social differences from the early 2000s to
yeah,
today, the
of
climate's a little
course.
different. And it is a lawyer firm. So there's definitely sexism and, misogyny and things like that.
Yeah, it's
However, James Spader is a gem in that show as well. And so we've been watching Boston Legal, but we were watching Boston Legal, and a character in it was this random girl, and I'm like, I know her from something. And then Tina Googled her, and she goes, "Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead." I'm like, that's definitely where I recognize her from. She was the mean girl that worked at
oh,
the fashion place that
okay.
Christina Applegate worked at. Remember, like the girl that was already working there that was like kind of like. And I'm like, man, I haven't seen Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead in literal like I probably haven't watched that movie since I was like 10
A
or 12,
literal title. Yeah.
a literal child. And I mean that movie was awesome growing up. I like there's the Conies. I'm remembering the chili dogs and the
I
gross
love that.
restaurant she worked at and her brother. And but yeah, no, I think I'm gonna rewatch that anyways. Sorry.
No,
Tangent.
it's true, but that's part of it. And like you rewatch that, and it reminds you of like why you like doing things and what makes you feel things and elicits these like feelings at all. But yeah, I think that's important. And for Fowler, who said, he said when like you're exhausted at the end of the day and you're like, I can't do anything, and
Hmm.
like, what the hell? Honestly, I know this sucks and like people don't want to hear this, and this is like so true though. Just write like a sentence. And like don't hate yourself for not writing two. Just write like a sentence. And then like maybe the next day you're like, that was a badass sentence. And then like maybe it'll inspire you to write another sentence, because the truth is it's just going to take a series of sentences until you have a chapter, and then you're going to have a book in no time, or you're going to have a short story or whatever it may be. But
Hmm.
we need to stop punishing ourselves for not finishing things as quickly as we want. We are adult people who are going through, lives and have issues, and we're going to fall in quicksand, and we're going to have to shake it off. And as we shake it off, we can use it to, write like beautiful words sometimes,
Hmm.
we learn from these experiences, but like we can't let these experiences absorb us so much that like we lose ourselves completely. Things can shape us, but they can't stop us. So I hope you'll write your sentences and your chapters and your books, because we need them so other people can eat them and then write their own work.
Hmm.
So I hope you'll all work on your books and get that stuff done. And I'm if our answers aren't satisfactory, I will make up new ones. I'm sorry. I
On
love
the
you.
fly.
Steven, you know what? I was going to pitch what I would like to be our next comic book. I'm not sure if I should do it this episode. Man, I'm gonna save it for next
Save it
episode.
for next week because I feel like this week's episode has had some pretty solid content already.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is like it's a good episode. It's a good like we're finding our way back. We're shaking,
yeah,
shaking.
because I feel like it starts off like
Yeah,
Steven's still in it. I mean,
it's
which
okay.
once again, thank you to each and every one of you who still continues to reach out, still continues to pour your love and support to me because it's been so. It's just nice to know that like I have so many friends everywhere that just love me, and I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, dude, we love you. I'm so glad like you're back and we're doing this. I can't wait to tell you about this idea though, because it's cool and I think you're gonna like
Mhm.
it. We didn't talk. We'll talk. We can talk about Fantastic Four next week. It doesn't matter. It's not like we're like a topical
I
show.
get,
And
yeah, maybe next week should be.
let's just do it next week where you can like talk about it.
Hopefully next week they'll drop a thicker trailer. Then we'll actually like we wouldn't have sounded stupid. Like I have a theory, a little tidbit. I have a theory that Galactus is going to succeed. I think he's going to eat their planet. That's what
Yeah,
I think is going to happen.
yeah,
But
that'd be nice. So you think that they're gonna go to a different reality, or do
yep,
you think?
I
Yeah,
think maybe MCU will pull like a quick one where I just don't see them making an entire movie and then killing off that version of them just to have the same people pop up in our own universe. I feel like there's got to be some reason they get sent to our
I guess
universe.
yeah.
And I feel like having something as ominous as Galactus, but don't show him doing anything would be stupid. Like you have to show him like
Oh, for
being
sure.
the threat he is, and maybe even set him up to be a bigger threat later.
I
Like
was
you,
gonna say, what if he eats their world and then he's threatening to eat multiple
yeah.
Earth, and then that's when they have to go and stop him somehow. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I can see that happening.
So that's just a little tip. Like what I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, you can't introduce Galactus, full Galactus. By the way, we all seen the silhouette.
Looks cool.
You can't just introduce Galactus and not have him be the thing he is, like which is just a world devouring, like omnipotent being of destruction. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, that's true. And I mean, I feel like they're going to show it with the Silver Surfer, which oddly they didn't show in the trailer at all.
strange. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do that. Which, by the way, just quick, I can't believe. I mean, I can because this it's comics.
Yeah,
I can't believe there's even any controversy that Silver Surfer is male or female. I don't even I I do feel like this argument can be made on certain characters where it is relevant to some
right,
extent.
right.
But
But
Silver
with this,
Surfer is not that character.
no, no, like so, no, it's not. It's just simply not. First of all, I mean, there's precedent. The character exists in the comics as it does. But,
Norrin Rad, right?
but
Which is an
Norman
awesome
Rad,
name.
oh, Norman Rad's freaking awesome. But that being said, like anyone can be the Herald of Galactus, and you can create that character and do
Hmm.
whatever you want with it. I totally understand that some people want to see Norrin Rad and his story.
Hmm.
I get it, but at the same time, it's like, at what point? And I know the answer is never, but at what point are we going to acknowledge that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is different from the comic universe? There are similarities, and there are things, there are obviously inspirations. An adaptation with various, cinematic elements added and changed and such. It's what they do. They always have, always will. It's going to evolve and grow and get better, sometimes worse, hopefully better over the years. I mean, look at the Thing, for instance. Like, they keep chiseling this rock until they're like eventually
They
we're gonna
finally
get
got us a pretty dang good looking thing.
yeah, but even then, like I saw, it was my friend on Twitter was complaining about the fact that he's wearing clothes and not just shorts, and I'm like, and I saw that multiple people in the live stream of the trailer were complaining about that, and I was like, you guys are crying that this rock hard thing isn't in underwear, and I'm
I
just,
want to see this thing bulging out of a very tight pair of blue spandex underwear. And if I don't see that,
yeah, I don't
Lord
get.
help me.
It's not, yeah, but I guess my point is just like people will find something to gripe about no
Well,
matter.
like, dude, like the Green Lantern situation with
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion. Like, he is literally ripped directly from the comic book pages, and they're just like, it looks stupid. Like, you
Yeah.
guys demand that the costumes look comic accurate,
Oh, it's
and then
so
it finally is comic accurate, and you're mad that it's not Hal or John or whatever Green Lantern you
yeah.
prefer.
Oh, it's so silly. But oh well, that's just how people are gonna be. But yeah, I'm gonna watch the
Yeah.
trailer a couple more times and we'll talk about it like at length.
I and then people are complaining about just to add to what we're going to talk about. People are complaining about Pedro Pascal, and
I
like I
don't care.
am so stoked. I don't care if there's oversaturation of him using everything. I want to see him literally just star in every role
Right?
ever.
Okay. Anyone who says that any actor there's oversaturation of them, what are you talking about? Sylvester Stallone. Okay. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like this is what happens with movies. Like that's
People
what
decide the world decides they like this. That's what happened. Like, Chris Pratt. The world
yeah.
decided they liked Chris Pratt. He was in every franchise. Now the world
Now
gets mad that they liked him, and
yeah.
then
Are you gonna like everything he's in? No. But like, why are you surprised that he's in things? This is so silly. Not to mention, like, Pedro Pascal in particular, he's been in some good things. He makes good choices. He's been
yeah.
doing, his characters have been fantastic, you know?
Mando, like the Mandalorian was one of the greater Star Wars like franchise things that has happened in a long time for Star Wars. And then like, yeah, he's just awesome. I started watching it, but I didn't finish it with that movie with Nicolas Cage, The Unbearable
Oh
Weight.
yeah, yeah. I haven't finished that either, actually. I have to
It
finish.
was I really and what's weird is I started it, really liked what was happening, didn't finish it, and then just never went back to it. I really need to go back to it because I did like what was going on. It was Nick Cage at his Nick
Oh,
Cageness.
he's cagiest. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. But I don't know. I'm excited for the Fantastic Four.
Mm.
I can't wait to see it. But otherwise, Steven, at the end of every show, we talk about what we're gonna do this week. So what are you planning on doing this week?
So I'm gonna keep progressing on the thumbnails, but I want to get a page done. I really do. I really need to get my feet wet and get this thing going. I want my goal is though for this year is to try to average 2 to 3 pages a week. So I'm gonna have to play catch up, but I at least want to get one page done and just really kind of get out of this funky situation. So,
Heck yeah, dude. I mean, that'll be amazing. If you get one page, that'd be freaking awesome.
mhm.
That'd be incredible. I can't wait. My goal is, I mean, basically tomorrow when this comes out, I'm gonna order all of the comics because now we know it looks good. The test prints are in. I also printed like special graphic novel versions of the first three issues, which like I don't even know what to do with it. I mean, obviously you get they're for you, but if you're out there and you're like, oh man, I really want one of those collections, let us
how,
know
how many how many extra copies do we have?
of the collection. I
Yeah,
think I think I ordered like four each. 3 or 4 each. Because
three
I
or
got
four.
the binding, I got the staple binding,
Oh,
I got
okay.
the actual like graphic novel binding too.
Oh, the
Just
glue binding, basically, like
binding.
like a book binding. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to see what it looked
I
like,
have
and
some ideas. I'll talk to you after, just in case you
cool.
don't agree, and then we don't have to. Nothing
Yeah.
gets nothing gets hurts. But okay, cool.
But yeah, so I'm gonna make like our big orders of all of our comic books, like funnel those the funds from Kickstarter into that and see what's left. And then aside from that, I'm probably gonna punch up this idea to pitch to you next week because I think it's cool and I think you're gonna like it. And then after Deathless, I'm hoping this is what we work on, or maybe not, maybe unless we have the but that's what I'm doing this week. But otherwise, thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this colony. Thank you for sticking around through the hard times and the good times. And we really appreciate you and all that you do. Stephen, what do you want to say to people before we go?
Thank you all so much for not only the support that you've given me in one of the more difficult times of my life, but for the support you've just naturally provided for me as your friend since this started basically. And almost like, I don't know if you watch or read or follow One Piece, but it's almost like the whole like Luffy, like when he's just gr getting like all these people that he just meets along his journey. And that's what this like podcast has kind of felt like, like it's like people just jump on the ship and we keep growing, like our crew keeps growing, and it's just beautiful, and I love it. And I thank each one of you so much for that. I really do love and appreciate each one of you.
We should talk about that. We've been talking about building a colony. I think we have to, maybe we'll build an island. Like our like colony island. Just speaking of jumping on a ship and getting everyone away. Like I think if you're out there and you're one of us, if you made it this far, you're welcome to the island. We love you. And until next time, we'll see you next week. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Boom. Ah. Boom. 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 I got it. Boom.
Recording in progress. Oh,
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude? Oh, man, it says our name.
Finally. Oh, sorry. It says
Oh,
our
no,
names. Our real, our government
Our
names.
government names.
Doge is coming for us, bro.
They're gonna freaking Doge. It's so ridiculous. Everything is so silly.
I just don't take life serious because it's not.
It's definitely not. That's like, you can't, right? If you thought it was before, you gotta know now, right?
It's obviously a simulation.
Yeah. And if it wasn't, it's about to be.
We're almost, yeah. Either way, it's like the Alien versus Predator tagline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever wins, we lose type thing. But like with the simulation, whether it is or isn't, it is.
It is.